Hello, everyone. Chris here with yet another Hovind, and this time something awesome. It finally happened. I'm here with AJ.
Yes, I'm here doing the collab of the century, so I'm excited,
Gotta s-
very excited.
gotta say, AJ's actually helping out a lot with this one because I am nowhere near ready to do like proper StreamYard recordings and get all the stuff in tow. So he's recording for me. So this is kind of an AJ stream, but not really because we're recording it live. We're doing it the way I do. We do it live, but in a pre-recorded fashion. But this is the take it's going to be because we're not going to spend 15 hours doing this like I do with all the other stuff because I just spent the past hour solid doing multiple takes of this video and them not feeling right. And then when AJ's like, "Hey, I'm not doing anything. You want to do this?" It's like, "Yes, I'm going for it," because I wanted to do this video with AJ, but between me being sick, him and his busy schedule, and then his wonderful trip to Atlanta, which was
True.
way
Yeah.
too short, we're only just now able to get to this. But I'm feeling good, about to get amped up on coffee. AJ, how you doing, my friend?
Fantastic. I'm ready to get started if you are, and so just let me know when you want me to pause the video, and we'll get started.
Of
Sound
course.
sound good?
Yep, let's roll, my friend.
All right, let's do it.
Come back down. Even small children love to play whack a mole. Adults love it too. Wait for an atheist to stick his head up, state a silly claim that evolution, religion is true, and we whack them back down with real science and Christian love. Actually, I enjoy it.
Okay,
So
so
many
right there. He always talks about whacking us down sweetly in Christian love. It's like this is why I do whack-a-hovend, to whack Hovend,
Right?
sweetly in atheist love. Satan, Satan whacked him,
Yeah.
because I mean, it's just like he always pops up, always says stupid crap. Don't want to deal with it. Don't well, we don't want to deal with we don't want to deal with it, but we do anyway. He says this stuff, and we just go into it. It's like, no, dude, all you do is lie about stuff, say a bunch of moronic shit. That's why we do the thing we do. That's why AJ does what he does. That's why we all mess with you, man. You got this ego. I don't know where I'm going with this, AJ. I'm already hyped up on coffee. Let's keep going.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to put it back on this frame just because Big Bad Mama made this image, or oops, Creationist Crybaby. They're definitely not the same person. But
Totally.
yeah, I mean, okay, evolution is obviously not a religion. So,
Definitely not.
and in my last debate with Kent, I asked him, I said, okay, show me any definition of evolution on any website that says it's a religion. And he just couldn't. And it's, I'm saying that's because there's no academic source that claims that it's a religion. And he's like, "Oh, I'm the source. I'm the expert." I'm like, "No, you're not, kid. Your degrees are fake. Fake.
Oh God,
You're a
that's just like what
fraud."
he did in the video I just did with on Guts of Gibbon.
Yeah,
He's like, who decides who's a scientist? I decide you're not a
exactly,
scientist, Erica. Like, what the hell, man?
exactly, dude. She absolutely is a scientist and an expert in the field. Like,
Full
I've talked,
stop.
yeah, I've talked to her in person, and like, it's incredible how knowledgeable she is. Erica's
Oh
awesome.
yeah.
Obviously, everybody knows that, but I don't know why Kent's like decided to pick on her recently. But
Well, we know Kent is a misogynist anyway. He hates women.
yeah,
We know
oh
that.
yeah,
So it
oh
makes
yeah.
sense. Anyone who's going to dominate him that badly. And speaking of dominated, I hate to say the little pose he's in right here and say, actually, I really enjoy it and can't bend over. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So many atheists, so little time. Who gets whacked first? The winner is. I almost it was very tempting to whack AJ Patterson one more time. Calls himself Atheist Junior. He finally
Oh,
admitted he has
man.
run
This
out of
right here.
ideas.
So I'm trying to make a point of this. Kent, would you please stop referring to him, referring to AJ with the last name in there? Would you stop? It's just
Yeah.
AJ.
Yeah. I
Respect him.
mean, nobody else calls me that. It's odd. Like, I mean, I feel like telling him to stop is just going to make him go, and I'm going to do it even more just to be,
This is
uh,
true.
you
But,
know.
it's an idea of pointing out that he just doesn't respect people. We already know he's not going to respect pronouns and
No,
particular
of course
identities
not.
and stuff. But I mean, pseudonyms, like I'm Chris. That's not my legal name, but that's the name I go by. He would respect that. So why is it any different on any of this other stuff? That's where I'm going with it.
Yeah, it's just like with R and Raw, you know, like when he's just got nothing else, you know, he goes after somebody's name, which is just also really weird. But he has always, since day one with Kent, um, I've seen that to me, he seems to ask for so many debates, not really because he's so excited about engaging in the marketplace of ideas when it comes to creationism versus evolution, although in the scientific realm, there's no fucking debate at all,
Yeah, none to be had.
just on YouTube, which is ultimately what I consider to be for entertainment and can be very entertaining. People like to watch debates, but like, you know, okay, I'm forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, um,
It's too early in the morning for this shit. But we're doing it for you because we love you. Yes, you over there, you in the back. Not you, Kent, but everyone else watching because y'all are awesome.
yeah, and here we have something that's been happening to me a lot lately, where like the Christians they seem to take jokes that I make like dead ass serious, and like okay, obviously when I said I've finally run out of ideas for my channel, that's a joke because I I haven't. I've been trying to put out a lot of content since I got back. Um, I've been doing like I did a flat Earth debate. I did a stream showing off some of my artwork, which was a lot of fun. And then I've been I did a video, or I didn't do it. It wasn't a video, but I went on a stream with Lupin and just fucking destroyed him. Oh, I don't know if you mind me cursing.
I don't.
Okay, I didn't think so.
AJ, you've watched some of my videos. You hear
Yeah,
how I talk. I don't give a
yeah.
fuck.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, let's keep going.
Ideas for his channel. I can think of lots of ideas for you, AJ. Use your talents to glorify God. You
Wait, I have talents now?
You are a pretty nice artist. I mean, I was saying that in my original recording, so this isn't just because you're here. It really isn't. Yeah, you know, yeah, and you see me comment in Discord. I like your
Sure.
art a lot, man, and I
Thank you.
enjoy amateur artists. You know, and say that as contrasted to professionals.
Yeah, yeah.
All artists of all type I appreciate, and it's like, I would legitimately want an actual physical piece at some point. Because it's like the little colored lines one that I liked back in Discord a few months back. Really cool kind of stuff I just, I like to have somewhere hanging up.
Yeah, I've sold a couple of my paintings.
Hell
Well,
yeah.
I've sold two, but uh, I think
That is
that
by definition a couple.
yeah, I think that anybody who makes art, I can call it and wants to call themselves an artist can. But
Oh,
obviously,
absolutely.
there are varying degrees of talent. But really, it's more of a difference of I create art for therapeutic reasons, because it helps with
Hmm.
like my mental health issues. It helps me relax and stuff because I can be. I know I seem like totally calm all the time, and I never get rattled, but I can get problems with anxiety sometimes, and that usually helps a lot because I get if I get uh, thinking about one thing a lot that's bothering me, usually getting lost in something like doing painting or drawing can help distract me, and then it's very beneficial for a
Therapeutic.
lot of
Yeah.
reasons. Yeah, but with professional artists, they're doing it really, and they're actually getting paid for it, which technically I guess I have. So I don't know.
Yeah, but it's again it's a sense of scale.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
evolution. It's oh you can walk an inch but you can't walk a mile. Oh, it's an amateur artist, a professional artist. Well, what's the difference? A sense of scale and just subjectivity on who's describing it.
yeah. So I guess Kent, because according to Kent, I'm just riding his coattails, and like effectively I owe like my success on YouTube to him for some reason, just because of the fact that I featured him in a lot of videos. And like, no, that doesn't mean that I didn't still make the commentary and take the time to make the video. Like,
Yeah, I mean, if we were watching the video, if we were watching for Kent Hovind, we just watch Kent Hovind's stuff. But no,
exactly.
I watch you because as soon as I found you, I enjoyed the humor, enjoyed the take, enjoyed the information, like the atmosphere, liked your personality, and rolled with it. People are clearly liking me, probably for the fact that I just don't give a dang, and I'm running into that. And look, I censor myself there. I don't give a flying fuck. You know,
Yeah.
people like they get drawn to stuff. I had a guy comment recently that apparently he and I think the same way. We feel the same way. I was the comments I was making were what he was thinking as he was watching my
Yes.
video on stuff, and I'm
Yes.
like, yes, I reached somebody who's like me. That is all I want, is to reach like-minded people. Made me feel so good.
That's
On the
great.
subject of Kent and coattail riding, though, I've got a point to make on that as soon as we get to the details on our on his subject of whacking today. So
Okay.
let's get to that.
All right.
You try hard to deny him, give it up. Okay. Why don't you help others see that evolution is stupid? And you know it is. But he's been whacked several times and doesn't
AJ,
get it. So
did you hear that? Did you know evolution's stupid?
I know that Kent thinks it's stupid. I also really hate the phrase like, "Oh, you know I'm right. You know that's true," because it's just very much used by gaslighters to convince
Oh
people of
yeah,
things that aren't true.
ultimate gaslighting.
Yeah, it's really
Just ugh.
annoying.
Yeah.
Bible says avoid
I've been whacked several times, all right, in the past weekend.
AJ, AJ goes to Atlanta. AJ has fun with his girlfriend. Over.
Yeah, my new one is when I say something witty, I'll go, Junior.
avoid foolish questions. And a man that's a heretic after the first and second admonition reject.
Why is heretic spelled like that?
Okay, I was wondering if that was wrong or not because I suck at spelling sometimes, and I was like, that doesn't look right at all. It should be an A in there. The second E should be an A, right? Heretic, or is it?
No, I think it just seems like it has an extra K on it, and I don't know. I'll have to Google that.
I'm looking up right now.
Okay, good. See, this is why it's
Let's
good to
let's
have
see.
two
Let's
people
see.
because somebody can
Yeah,
fact check stuff.
yeah. The K is extra. You're right. That's where the problem is.
Right.
It's here tick, as in here is a tick on the back of my neck. Someone get it off, Hovind. Hovind's probably covered in ticks. Hovind covered in ticks. Took the real tour. Got covered in ticks, Hovind.
Right.
Angry dust cloud. Arr.
Lyme disease, Hovind.
Can't eat red meat anymore, Hovind.
Reject them, knowing that such as subverteth and sinneth, being condemned of himself. So we're going to skip AJ. Sorry, bud. I know you love the
Okay,
publicity.
good, AJ. Kent. So does that mean, Kent, that you're not going to bring up AJ anymore ever because you're done with him? No, you've probably brought him up another dozen times that I just haven't seen since the stream.
He actually does though, like super randomly though. Like it's so weird when I'm watching a Kent Hovind video and I kind of just I don't think about like the amount of like history that we have with Kent. I just I'll just be watching the video not thinking about it, and then all of a sudden they'll say something like it's always related to some gay joke because he'll say something and I'm like,
Yeah.
AJ, like just mentions my name and I'm like, wait, what? Like, oh yeah, like it's fucking weird.
I
Like,
forgot you're living rent free in his head, which I hate that
yeah,
phrase, but
I
it
do
perfectly
too.
describes this. It perfectly
Yeah.
describes it.
Well,
Oh
he
man,
named his dog after me, so
yeah, which is terrifying. So, well, that tells us something. He hates dogs. He named the dog after you, so he's
true.
trying to say he hates you, but he whacks you sweetly in Christian love. No, no,
Well,
no, no love like Christian
you're
hate,
right.
or no
Hope he
hate like
doesn't whack
Christian
the
love.
dog too, but
Sure, he
um,
does. Is
he
the dog male or female? Because
it's
that depends on if he abuses.
it's a male pug, male or
Oh,
female.
okay. So,
How do you tell? Coming up the bill.
oh man.
But yeah, uh, Kent, I'm not even sure if he skipped me. I'm not even sure why he mentions me here, but I do like the idea of Kent was going to whack me, but instead he did Adam Savage. Does that mean we're on some similar level of popularity? Because it's a
I would think
Kent.
so. Congratulations, AJ. On
Okay.
Hovind's scale, you are equivalent to Adam Savage. That is an accomplishment right there.
Well, I do like Adam Savage, so I'm interested to see what Kent has to say.
Who doesn't? What sane person doesn't like Adam
I
Savage? For
know,
real.
really. Yeah, seriously. Jamie.
Oh, well,
Nobody else pays attention to you. Adam's
That's obvious, yeah. Even though my view counts on my videos are equal or more to yours, even though you have like twice as many subs as me, Kent. So this is
Wait,
what was
did you
cracking me
say
up too.
something? I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, so
Seriously, Kent, we're more popular than you. Come on.
yeah, Lupin in his stream, Lupin of like 100 something, like about 200 subs, and his videos are getting like 20 views or whatever. He is saying, Atheist Junior is just he's like he's his channel's dying, bro. Nobody like okay, dude. All
No, I have never seen a more healthy channel, honestly.
right.
Like I can't think of any other small to mid-range YouTuber on my scales that I would
Sure.
class as more successful.
Yeah,
Like
I
this.
mean, when I was at about 2,000 subs, is when I met Erica at Faithless Forum, and that was when she had just hit 10K, and she's blown up since then, dude. So definitely, she's the person I know that has the most. But sort of similar to me, I would say Dr. Dan, if you know Creation Myths,
Hmm.
he has about the same amount, and Dapper Dino, where he's got more than me, but yeah. Yeah, definitely not you can't say that nobody pays attention to me because the view count, like, you can just look at the videos. If compare, like, then that means nobody pays attention to Kent because our videos get very similar views.
Well, it's also the matter of comparing subscriber counts if you want to. I mean, most of my subscribers are legacy from my older
Yeah,
gaming content days and the like. But the 150 or so I've gained in the past month from doing these videos, getting the kind of traction I am, that does mean something. Can't you have nearly 30K? Don't know how many of
yeah,
those are bought, but you have nearly 30K and you're pushing, a thousand, 2,000 views on stuff
yeah, dude.
on your own channel because you can't just take other people's re-uploads of your stuff and take it as your own. That's not the statistic we're talking about, not the metric we're discussing. Individual
Adam
channel
Savage,
growth.
Yeah. All right.
Mythbusters. Is Adam Savage still an atheist?
Oh, right. This is the point where I was going to get
Well,
to what I was going to say.
Okay.
Um, is that Kent talks about you riding on his coattails, right? But I've noticed, and he's always done this, but I've noticed this seemed to be an uptick of picking bigger names like Hank
Yes.
Green, like Erica, like Adam Savage, like Kamala Harris, where he of course misspells her name because he's a disrespectful prick.
Sure.
He seems to be riding on more prominent people's coattails in the exact same way he claims you are. So, little hypocritical there, Kent. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, Simon Dan too.
Oh yeah, forgot about Simon Dan.
Yeah, Kent was doing a video where he was uh, streaming on Restream, which I don't know if he does that normally, but I don't think he does because he posted the link, which Kent never does that, because he wanted Simon Dan to come on his stream as if Simon Dan is going to be watching Kent's video with the time difference in London, or wherever he lives in the UK, and
Yeah.
just the fact that Dan is like a huge atheist YouTuber, and he's not like somebody who's going to be hanging out in side chat and would be willing to hop on with Kent just
Yeah, he's not gonna
impromptu.
be
Like,
just
he's gotta
sitting
like
there watching a Kent stream.
yeah,
Not
dude,
happening. He's
he's
got a
not gonna
family.
do
He's a
that.
runner. He's got a
Serious,
life.
yeah,
I had brought that up in my Erica video. At the time, I still believed she was studying in the UK because that's the last I had heard. Found out no, she's back in the States because I
yeah,
miss a lot of info. I watch this stuff off and on.
sure,
But I had brought up that very same thing of the time difference that it'd be like 1 a.m. over there, even if she was. But even if she's here in America, it's still she's busy. There's more important things to do than get on Ken Hovind's stupid live stream and argue with him.
yeah. And plus, Kent. The funny thing is that I ended up joining, but they wouldn't. He wouldn't add me because he's like, no, I wanted to talk to Simon Dan. Schedule another debate, Atheist Junior. I'm like, which,
Oh, of course, he doesn't have his slides prepared for AJ. He has them prepared for Lyman Dan. Maybe Creaky Blind Man if he renames a few things. Alvin hates the UK YouTubers.
I just like
Emma.
blind people. Yeah, Emma. Oh God, that was yeah, it was so weird how he would say his name.
Very
Or sorry, her name.
yeah.
Excuse me. I was distracted because I had the most bizarre experience the other day talking to Bubblegum Gun. I don't know if you know who that is.
I do not.
Okay, well, I envy you. But anyway, just to make a really long story
Oh
short,
man.
he's like a theist. I believe he's a flat earther, and he's just real anti-evolution, anti-science, all that crap. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
he has this avatar of his like original character, Do Not Steal, of Emma Thorne, like dressed as a Nazi, and she's pointing a gun at the camera and it says "Pray," because it's supposed to be some like character he made up where she's like a Sith Lord or some weird fucking incel shit. And he was
The
showing me the other
actual fuck.
pictures. Yeah, he was showing me the other edited photos he had made of her, and then he gets to the last one, and it's just a photo from like her Instagram, but edited to have like gigantic tits. And I'm like, what the hell? Did you make this with one hand? Like, what the fuck is this, dude?
Dude,
It was
that's
so weird.
creepy.
was-
Oh man.
Felt bad.
Ooh, boy.
It was just so weird, dude. Like, anyway, let's keep
Back to
Well-
slightly less creepy Ken Hovind.
Yeah.
Tonight's winner, Adam Savage of Mythbusters. Why doesn't he try to bust the myth of evolution?
It's not a myth. It's scientific theory, Kent. You know that. I mean, maybe you don't.
It's the most well substantiated, if you can call something as a theory a fact of science.
Yeah,
Like-
well, there's
like-
the theory of evolution, and theories are basically an explanation of a natural phenomenon, but they're
Yeah.
made up of a body of facts. But there's also
Yeah.
the fact of evolution, which even Kent
Yeah.
doesn't deny for microevolution as a fact.
Yeah.
Kent.
So, we're getting, again, nuanced here, which is sort of my whole shtick with this video.
Yeah.
It's my whole thing with it is that Kent doesn't, nuance is lost on Kent. Everything is binary to him and other creationists. It's always 1 or
Yeah.
0, black or white, on or off.
And the big one, which is us versus them,
Oh, yes. I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that.
that's the big one with Kent, is making it seem like it's evolutionists versus creationists, and it's and that Christians are never that you're not a true Christian if you don't accept if you accept evolution and
Well, hell, to Kent, you're not a true Christian unless your preferred version of the Bible was written in 1611 by some self-righteous douchebag.
or if you don't eat chicken.
Right-wing chicken eating fundamental Hovind.
I'm not just eating them, I fucked them. Chicken fucker.
I wonder if I went to DAL and asked for chicken, would I actually get some? I probably would, and it'd probably be laced with like cyanide or something too.
Just a little
Chris
bit
ate the
of
chicken.
cyanide. Just a little bit.
It gives it an almondy flavor. Hovind.
Oh my god. Let's keep going.
Over 750 programs they've done. Why doesn't he test the limits of natural selection? He believes natural selection works. So do I. It selects, and it's all it does. And it produces variations within the same kind, but they're limited. Adam, why don't you test that? Are there limits? Okay. Why don't you show the myth that life started from soup? Why don't you show the myth of the silly geologic column?
Wait, did you,
Right there.
did you
What were you
forget? Did you forget to add the second set of quotation marks there, Kent?
Exactly what I was about to
Show the
bring
myth that
up.
life started from soup.
Bro, you just forgot right there.
Yeah.
Geologic column, no close quotes. Like, it's just the little things. That's one of the things I go for in my stuff. As you've seen for the bit of my videos you've watched, I do try to nitpick, because it's just, he has such an ego about him. He says he taught high school science, math, and English, and everything else. He teaches sex education on whale penises and stuff for 15 years in high school. It's like, that's a rookie mistake. You think someone would have pointed that out, he would have brought it up, or something. I don't know. It's like, come on, man.
Taught me how to Dougie.
Oh, drown a Dougie, Hovind. Hovind, Dougie.
Drowning.
Do the
Dougie.
Hovind, Dougie. Do the Hovind shuffle, everybody. Branch to the right, branch to the left. Now do the Holy Ghost. Now do the Holy Ghost.
Now do the I'm drowning.
I'm drowning. I'm drowning. Falling off a rock wall. Yeah.
All right. The geologic column, it's not real. Neither of those fucking apostrophes, huh?
Why don't you show the myth of the silly geologic column?
What about the regular geologic column?
Geologic column, silly, you guys. Oh, man. Look, let me tell you, if I had a choice, I'd hang out with the silly geologic column, all right? Probably know some good bars in town. Just saying.
Bro, that geologic column is faded, bro.
Oh, man.
Adam Savage on evolution. On the TV show Mythbusters, he expressed himself an interest in testing the concept of natural selection over creationism.
Ooh.
I would put the ism on evolution. Evolutionism versus creation. Anyway,
I put the
Of course you
jism
would.
right on Sandra.
Oh, damn. Here comes Hovind. Hovind explosion. Okay, I apologize for putting that image in everybody's heads. AJ and I have lost the plot. This is what's great is this is going on my channel, so AJ
Right.
can say whatever the fuck he
Exactly.
wants
Yeah,
because I
true.
don't give a fuck. Oh man, of course he wants to put the ism over evolution rather than creation because religion reverses everything, as Aaron Ross said. He just wants to flip the whole script around. That's the MO.
But this is just like something where Kent's wrong, and it's just like so dumb. Like, how is it that he's never over the years found out that it's not like ism doesn't mean something's a bad thing because theism is being religious and Kent's a theist, but he wouldn't say that, that he just
Yeah,
says
theism's wrong.
atheism. Yeah, so Nazism is bad, and I think atheism
Communism's
is
bad.
Yeah, communism is bad, so it must be the suffix that means something's bad. No, it's not.
That's just that's the mind of Kent.
It's just like, how do you get
Nuance
to
is
be
lost.
this old and still think something that dumb?
Willful ignorance.
Yeah, seriously.
He pitched an idea to Discovery Channel.
He pitched a tent.
Hey, Discovery Channel, check this out. I just pitched to Hovind.
Involved using explosives and duct tape to create a concrete animal, a cabot or a kitty bunny, and observe whether it would explode.
Explode.
What?
You heard that right?
What?
Yeah, observe whether it would explode, not evolve, but explode.
Was that a joke from Kent? Like, I don't.
No, I think his brain gets fixated. Like he's wired for all the keyword reactions.
Right.
When someone says geologic column, he knows where to go in his script. When someone says, radioactive decay, he knows where to go. Carbon dating, that's what happens. He somehow got explode stuck in his head from the explosives being used up in the middle right there. And so when he saw evolve, he was like explode. That's my guess. I don't think this was intentional.
Yeah.
Could be though. The more I think about it.
I mean, it's funny that you mentioned carbon dating because I'm actually going to be doing another debate with Kent pretty soon, and it's going to be about carbon dating specifically.
Carbon dating. You know what that is? That's when the piece of coal likes the diamond, and they decide to start going steady.
Yeah, that diamond better fuck on the first date.
Otherwise, she's getting body slammed to the floor. Yeah, body slammed to diamond.
Look, I paid for dinner at Taco Bell. God, I was watching some incel shit earlier on.
Why?
No, well, I was watching somebody like reacting to a video. I don't know if you if you know Jake from Actual Jake. Like he used to be the Bible Reloaded, but yeah. So I watched Jake, and he was watching some guy who's like Angry Guy is the name of the channel, and it's just like he sounds
like Angry Joe's crappier cousin. I'm Angry Guy.
Yeah, just like super mad that like women aren't just like won't. He's like, we're it's men going their own way is the thing, and it's like, okay.
Oh yes, the MGTOW.
Yeah, they're like, we're not gonna date you anymore, and it's like, okay, I'm sure that they're just crying. The women across the world are just so upset by this fact.
Like, it is such a tragedy. The dating pool has just been stripped of people who, for one reason or another, aren't like that much to begin with. Okay.
Yeah. Just all right. Let's keep going.
Hovind's going their own way. Hovind.
Hovtow.
This experiment aimed to demonstrate the power of natural selection. In the context of this tested platform, Adam Savage promotes a community-driven approach to making an innovation, encouraging people to explore and experiment with various ideas. Adam, farmers have been doing this for thousands of years, trying to get, potatoes in different types of soil, more acid, more alkali, more water, less water, more sunshine, less sunshine. They've now developed, I think, 4,000 varieties of potatoes. And guess what? They're still a potato. Whoa.
Hey, Kent. Kent. You want to know why?
This mindset aligns with the principle of evolution,
AJ,
where species adapt and evolve.
There we go. Did you have a stroke mid thought, AJ?
No. Stacy called me, so I just told her I'm recording a video.
Oh, yes. Well, sorry to have interrupted her
Nah, it's okay.
calling. Now I feel terrible. No,
No.
I was gonna say, he did his usual thing of, oh, this produces this. It's always a potato. Yes, Kent. Not only ignoring law of monophyly, ignoring the way evolution is a branching pattern. So any new species that would deviate from potato plants would still technically be a potato, but well, potato plant. Kent, of course they breed different types of potatoes and they keep trying to get potatoes because that's what they're trying to do. You don't try to breed something completely new unless that's what you're going for.
Yeah.
So that doesn't even make sense in this particular case. Cows produce cows. Of course they do, because that's what people are breeding. They branch cows out. So we got the different, subspecies and the like. That's how it works, especially when artificial selection is involved. Come on, Kent.
Yeah. I mean, farmers don't do scientific experiments. I mean,
Well,
they just
in a weird sense, the earliest ones, as we went from hunter gatherer to being agricultural species, they kind of did in the primitive way of learning the principles of selective breeding and stuff. So in a way, they did science. But I know where you're going with this. So yeah, keep going.
Yeah, no, it's just he always like wants to reference farmers, and it's like, he's arguing against evolution, and he'll always say, ask any farmer, and it's like tons of farmers would tell you, oh yeah, I owe my entire career and livelihood to artificial selection,
Yeah,
because
exactly. They're reaping the end results and focusing on what they need to do is maximizing crop yields and efficiency. They're not sitting here spending all their time testing all this stuff, which you would reject anyway if they did. I mean, if a
yeah,
farmer sat there, got, continued being a farmer, but also went through, tons of college courses, got the PhD, got the university, experience, and demonstrated evolution, showed it, would Kent then accept it because the person's also a farmer? I kind of wonder.
yeah, exactly. All right, let's keep going.
Evolve through variation, mutation, and selection. Why don't you really test that myth, Adam? Okay. There's no direct mention of Adam Savage discussing historical Adam or Eve, okay? Reconciling evolution with Genesis. You're not going to reconcile the dumb evolution.
I'm sure that you've caught on to this at some point, but have you ever noticed how Kent slips in the word or the phrase "okay" right at the end of the sentence really quickly for some reason? Because you'll never be able to unhear it if you haven't.
Great. I think I've subliminally noticed it. Now that I'm consciously aware, it's over. I'm going to hear it constantly, just like every other weirdism he has, weird tick he has.
Isms.
Every other weirdism,
Yeah,
weirdism's evil.
that's a good word.
Religion with a perfect book like Genesis, okay?
Okay,
He has focused
Perfect book, my ass.
perfect
That's all I'm
book.
gonna say. Genesis can't. We're not even gonna go into it, but just dude, it starts with two conflicting versions of the same already wrong creation story. It can't even pick which version it wants to roll with.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh man.
Genesis. Genesis says that you had the earth and with plants on it created before the sun, because it's before the stars were created. So even though Kent will say something like, "Oh, well, plants can go one day without sunlight," it's like, well, yeah, but if there's no heat whatsoever in the first place from the sun, if Earth is effectively as cold as just outer space itself, then
I mean, at that point,
the
there'd be
plants are
no
all
heat.
yeah, everything's gonna
It'd be
freeze
absolute
over and
zero.
die. If you've ever done gardening, which I have because I'm not straight,
I am surrounded by plants. That's what fills half my room is just various wonderful little mostly succulents and the like here and there and odd tropicals.
right? Well, if you've ever planted a garden, you know that even during like springtime, you can get a freeze and it can kill your plants in one night. You know what I mean? Depending on what you're growing.
Oh
And
yes, that's the point you were going.
yeah, like so, I guess that's a perfect book. But if it's except that God ended up regretting creating humans and killed like almost all of them except for 8 people. That was really fair. Bunch of
And
babies
then
died.
uh, and then incest, which oddly
Yeah.
enough apparently wasn't a problem after the fall, but only a little bit after the flood did it become a problem. That's a little weird considering all the other problems with every aspect of life are supposed to have been directly caused by Eve and Adam. And yes, I put the woman first because she comes first. Yeah, right. Never with Hovind.
Yeah.
Um, In that story, though, all the problems are supposed to be that, except incest. Incest is still cool after the fact. It's like, what the hell?
Well, who are you gonna report it to? That guy's fucking his sister too.
Keep it in the family. Rural Alabama. Hovind.
Incest. Incest.
appears to be on demonstrating the scientific concept of natural selection. Okay. Natural selection. Look at me. Adam.
Okay.
It selects. It doesn't create anything. It selects from what's already available.
What's already available. So was that stuff available just from the beginning of time, or are the things that are being selected for variables and traits that developed from random mutations? Because that's what is selected for. They,
Feathers
mutations.
developing from scales. That's something already there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Kent will say something like, "Oh, there are 400 something varieties of apples, and they probably had a common ancestor." It's like, well, how do you think we got all those varieties, Kent? They didn't just already exist. I mean, maybe you think they did, but
Yeah.
even Kent will argue that that there was only like 2 cats on the ark, and that all of the species of cats that we have today, started from those 2, and put that for every animal species basically, and it's like, well, that by definition is just evolution. It's just really fast evolution. It's hyper evolution.
Yep.
Because the definition of macroevolution, because Ken says he doesn't agree with macroevolution. He agrees with micro, which you really can't just separate one from the other. It's the same process over a different time scale. And since there have been new species from the flood that didn't exist when the ark took sail or whatever, that means that's speciation. Those are new species, and that's macroevolution. So you can't get around this one.
I'm still trying to figure out how all the plant life survived and propagated as it did, but that's just me.
Yeah. I like to think about things. You guys, you shouldn't do that.
rather than addressing theological or biblical perspectives. In summary, Adam's views on evolution are centered around the idea of testing and demonstrating the concept of natural selection through experimentation. Yay, that would be science, rather than addressing theological or biblical interpretations of evolution.
I love how transparent it fucking is that Kent is just targeting this guy because he's so well known. Because when I think of Adam Savage, like, he's just not somebody I associate with atheism and evolution. Like,
yeah, he's just guy
like,
who does cool science shit.
Yeah, like, I'll watch Adam Savage if I want to see somebody make the gun from Blade Runner, which I totally do. But like, he doesn't make content like like the Hank Green video. That's from a channel that's about science and biology. They have different Crash Course has different like hosts for different topics. Like, they do Crash Course in physics. Basically, it's like Hank Green does it for science, and then John Green, he's a writer, so he does it for like English and literature subjects, and he wrote The Fault in Our Stars, and they made a movie out of that. He's a great writer. But yeah.
His approach emphasizes the power of innovation, experimentation, and adaptation, aligning with the principles of evolutionary biology. Adam, nothing about science aligns with the principles of evolutionary biology. It says, you've been an outspoken religious skeptic, i.e.,
totally
atheist.
wrong.
Well, Adam, have you ever considered?
Pretty sure he was answering a letter or reading a letter there. Is there a reason we can't play the actual video? Why can we never see the video of these people that you're whacking?
Ken Hovind, afraid of copyright claims.
Right.
Can't abuse the system anymore. They're on to me. Hovind.
You'll never take me alive, Hovind. Got an underground bunker.
Busting the myth of the geologic column.
Busting.
Busting makes me feel good.
Who made up the silly idea the layers are different ages back in 7?
Canton is silly layers.
It's silly, silly layers.
Your ideas are just silly. They're silly.
1797, and really put it together in 1830. It totally influenced Charlie Darwin. And
was that your last?
From your book from 1611? Just lines on paper, Kent.
Exactly.
Still influences students today, and it doesn't exist. Every speck of dirt in the universe is the same age, Adam.
No,
I'm so tired of him saying this every time.
I mean, even if you grant this, it doesn't mean that the layers are all the same age. He's been
We
explaining this
define the
probably
layer.
so many
Yeah.
times, dude.
Yeah, we define the layers age based on various criteria, but it basically boils down to when those the layers would have been deposited, when they would have formed. Again, the layer in and of itself, that's the object we're describing the age of, not the
Right.
matter itself. This is basic, this is basic object permanence and basic conceptualization of things. This is stuff a 4-year-old understands.
Right. And Grayson has a good example that he tells Kent because he's explained it to him in multiple debates. But the example that I gave is with the question that I asked Kent about this was Mount Rushmore. So basically, let's see, when was Mount Rushmore finished? I always have to look this up. In 1941. So we'll just call it like 70 years. I think that's about right. So it was finished about 70 years ago, the statue. So my question to Kent was, how old is Mount Everest? I told him like it was completed in 1941. So how old is Mount Everest? Well, is it 70 years old, or are we going by the age of the rock that makes it up? Or are we talking about the actual sculpture itself? Because Mount Rushmore, when you think of it, is a mountain, yeah, but it's the mountain with the completed sculpture in it. They're one and the same, but we're starting the clock when the sculpture is set in, and you start the clock in the geologic column when a new layer is finished forming. That you start the clock at 0. So the material can be a certain age. It can even all be the same age as everything else in the universe, material-wise, but the actual like structure itself, the layer or the statue or sculpture, are not going to be that same age, because the age of their clock basically starts later than the subsequent material making it up.
That's just how you define the ages of things from a particular point, a certain criteria. How old is Kent Hovind? Is he as old as the atoms in the universe, or is he 71? Are we measuring from when he was born, or when the first atoms that make him up would have formed in, to him, God just snapping into existence, but to us, in the infinite heat of the original cosmic inflation event.
Yeah.
Either way, that's not how we measure it.
And what Grayson basically tells Kent is that, you can, if you grant him that the atoms are the same age, you could say that me and Kent are the same, the atoms that make us up are the same age, but we're not considered the same age because
exactly
they formed at different times. And I think it's a great example, and it's not surprising because Grayson, I think, is one of the best debaters I've seen on YouTube, and he roasts Kent every single time, And I'm going to be doing a collab with him and Mark Reed on Monday. We should be. We have to reschedule because Grayson's dog got sick. So thoughts and prayers go out to his dog. I think he's doing better. He said he's able to eat solid food now because he was throwing up or whatever.
Very good.
Yeah. Look forward to that. I'm definitely gonna. I love being able to collab with them because it's just I feel like it's a good panel. Like it's a good, broad.
Oh yeah, it's a very nice trio.
Yeah, like a Total Recall with the girl with 3 boobs.
Think about it.
I'm sure Hovind wore out the VHS on that.
Yeah, he wore it out.
It's the same age, every speck of dirt. How can the layers be different ages? Where's this new material coming from?
Uranus.
Have you watched the video Experiments in Stratification?
Wait, we've lost another set of quotation marks?
Oh my God, we did. I didn't even notice this the first time around. Experiments and stratifications, lost quotes. So we got 2 missing sets of end quotations. So if anyone finds those quotations, please send them back to Kent Hovind at wherever the Dinosaur Adventureland, wherever the fuck Pearl Lane, Lenox, Alabama, care of 2 guys who don't give a shit.
Yeah. In England, we call them inverted commas, isn't it? Sorry.
Oh, your glove. Bro, the video you sent, that little weird creepy one, I'm going to do a short thing on that. I am going to address it because that's just weird.
What, me talking to Nathan? Oh no, the short of Nathan.
The other one, that little TikTok shit. Because I'm like, this is beyond creepy.
He uploaded that on his channel too.
That's the thing. I had to look and check. I'm like, I know AJ isn't just sending some random junk. I just had to be verified. Like, yeah, this is on his channel. What the actual fuck?
Yeah, it's Nathan Oakley like on one of those like Omegle sites or random cam sites, like talking to two girls who look pretty young, like look
Yeah.
like they're in high school, and they're just roasting him anyway because he's an idiot. His accent is just like me and Aiden. I know you've seen a couple of our streams, but we recently did a stream uh that had Zach the Shaken Fist in it. He was in the side chat
Yes.
too, and we were just doing the like, oh, and I need to sweep the chimney, mate. I need a new job because it's my job's a fire hazard.
That's the chimney sweep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate it. I'm in that video and you favorited the comment. It's so weird hearing my voice in the stream. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Was it did Kent watch a clip of your video? Is that how
He has, if he's watched it or not, it hasn't been on a broadcast. He's
okay.
just at least aware that I did my video, and then he looked at some comments on it. So did a comments on the Hank Green one.
Okay. Okay. All right, let's keep going.
Speciation. If any of you have not seen that, Google it on YouTube. It'll show you the layers form sideways, not vertically. There is no law of superposition. Not a law at all. It's raw. Okay.
Yeah, because we know Kent cares about laws.
Well, there has to be a lawgiver.
Yeah.
For clarification, not that anyone watching wouldn't know this, but laws are descriptive, not prescriptive in this case. It's the way we describe the way the universe works. Laws help form the backbones of the complete theory on how any given process is.
Yeah. I think I made a joke to Aiden saying the laws of physics are the only laws Kent follows because he can't break them.
Yet he thinks God can and does to make the universe look the way it does because magic, not a
Well,
god
I
of
mean,
confusion, but wants to confuse us.
by definition, I think a miracle is something that defies, science and is something that is impossible. So you sort of,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
kind of
So
has to. But it just makes you wonder why God would create a universe where he would have to break its own laws to do stuff. Like, why not
yeah,
just
just
make
to
it
be the
so?
way you'd want it to be. It's just it's weird. I mean, again, we've all seen and stated that simplicity is the hallmark of
Yeah.
creation, not complexity. So at least good creation, good engineering, good design. So
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever seen somebody make a bong, they don't make it super complicated. It just has to work.
well, they mainly need it to work. So when they get high, they can still do it. It needs to be simple. Got to make it simple. Oven's gonna get high. It won't be able to operate if it's too complex. Needs
Higher than
more than one
United.
button.
Yeah, I'm higher than United.
It shows clearly the layers form downstream, horizontally, not vertically.
That makes
So,
sense.
how can
Yeah,
polystrata
totally.
trees exist, Adam? Explain how they stood there for millions of years. The layers aren't on different ages.
Can't,
Where's the new material?
can't. And this is the point where you contacted me, AJ. So this is as far as I made it in the video.
Okay.
Can't polystrate layers or polystrate trees going through layers that are geologically effectively the same. It's going to be some
Right.
variation as as seasons happen, as environments change in reasonable ways, but they're not going through actual straight up geological layers like you think they are.
Right. I don't think Kent understands how big a geologic layer is, because you have to think about it like, um, imagine how deep you can dig in the earth, uh, basically where it's just we've never made it anywhere close to getting past the crust of the earth, even with the deepest holes that they've dug. I think the deepest is in Russia somewhere.
Yeah, the Cora borehole or something like that.
Yeah,
It's like 4 kilometers down, and at that point, the heat was so much the drill system failed.
right. And you have to imagine. So just going off this chart, which is I think is kind of simplified, but it's accurate enough. Think about
Yeah,
4.6 billion years worth of geologic processes and layers forming vertically, which they form vertically. Doesn't make any sense to say they form horizontally because, I mean, maybe it's me, but in my head, the only way I can picture all the layers forming exclusively horizontally was if they all existed, but just in a really, really skinny column that went all the way up,
yeah.
and then all of them formed horizontally at once somehow,
Like
which
they got knocked over like a domino effect or something.
I don't know. I don't even know if the way I'm describing it makes sense, but
That's how weird it is. Yeah, it's like, what are you actually saying, Kent? You're saying words, but you're not conveying an idea, because we can't even figure out our own thoughts on this. So obviously there's some miscommunication.
yeah, like one explanation of the law of superposition I've heard is to simply imagine it like somebody who's making a collection of like newspapers, and they get one newspaper, and then the next day they get the next issue, and they just throw it on top of the last one. Well, if you keep going like that, they form vertically. It makes a stack that goes up, and as you go down, the date is going to be farther in the past. So
That's a great analogy. Kent is obsessed with the idea of things being observable. Science is what we can see, test, observe, and we see sedimentation. We see layering that matches the descriptor, those properties of law of superposition. We see old stuff get buried under new stuff all the time, everywhere.
Because Kent says that that the layers formed horizontally and that they're all the same age. That's what he says. So in my head, I cannot picture any other way other than, okay, if you could imagine, like, if you took a really thin slice of, like, the layers on the right, or just in general, like a really thin slice. So you have that. So it's like a complete geologic column, just a really skinny one. And that would be, like, at the creation of the earth, I guess, or at the start of the flood. And then from there, every single layer starts forming out horizontally, because that's the only way they can all be the same age and form horizontally.
Oh man, that breaks my head to think about.
Yeah, like
yeah, that's what?
I know, like I can't see how
it's like it's like the layers of geologic strata are flood water that just crystallized into all these things and just spread out.
Yeah,
like a weird ice flow, like those undersea ice flows that end up killing the little starfish and stuff around it. It's crazy.
Yeah, and Kent says that every tide formed a new layer every 6 hours, 12.5 minutes. Like, I'm weirdly specific on this one point, but I can't remember the fucking basic definitions. That bothers me. It really annoys me how Kent does shit like that.
Well, DAL's been open for 8.6974 3.24 Q Kelvin years old. So, I had a guy explain to me that in the comments that he thinks that it's him mocking the weird way we measure like the 13.437 whatever billion years of the universe that he'll see in a book. I think that it's him mocking that. And so I'm like, that's a pretty good explanation on what it is. But obviously it's not that good of a joke because it completely was missed by us.
Yeah, and it's also like, if you guys like to have figures that are accurate as possible, you fucking morons.
Science. They want to be accurate. Stupid scientists trying to learn shit.
Well, that's why he has those books. Help, I'm being taught evolution. Like, help. Like, you're in danger because somebody's trying to make you learn something that's correct.
Hey, Kent, show me on the doll where evolution touched you.
Material coming from to make these layers? Outer space? This is a myth I think you ought to bust, Adam. Why don't you guys get together and bust the myth of the law of superposition? That's not a law, or the law of the geologic column, the layers being different ages.
You know what else isn't a law, Kent? You know what else isn't a law? According to you, paying taxes, buddy. And that's not a knock at his federal prison stint. That's a knock on the fact he's literally said that.
Yeah, I have a video on my channel showing Kent just straight out saying that, oh, I haven't paid any income taxes for 20 years, which is like...
Yeah, his older videos are an absolute gold mine for all the really crazy stuff he believes.
Oh, I love me some old school Hovind. Those videos are my comfort food for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, that's when Kent was on top of his game. The seminar Kent with the ugly ties and the suits that don't fit him that well. I mean, it's classic Hovind.
And the amazingly even more annoying voice. Now, Grand Canyon.
Grand Canyon. Probably formed in a week. Like, I'm very
just like
sure
I beat my kid's ass. It didn't heal for a week. Take that, Kent Jr.
Imagine AJ when I hit you.
Oh, he's not going to hit you. He's going to body slam you. He's never body slammed, or he's never hit. I forget what exactly he said. It's just, I, oh, no, I think it was the I never body slammed a woman. It's like, oh, so you
Oh
body
yeah,
slam a man?
yeah. He threatened to body slam me. He actually
Yeah,
did.
that was it. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
like that's pretty fucked up, Kent. That's a legal violation right there. But of course, he doesn't believe in the law of well,
yeah.
whatever the hell the law is described as. Depends on your jurisdiction. Check with your local statutes before you body slam somebody
Right. Call your doctor first.
and
So
lawyer.
yeah, these polystrata trees, Kent seems to think that they're going through each layer. Again, Kent does not seem to understand how big geologic layers are. Like
Yeah, I mean,
they,
he's literally claiming that each one of those, we see the sections that are kind of cut out, indicating slightly different material forming that strata, and he's thinking each one of those is what we claim is millions of years old. Like, no, dude, those are all just different sedimentation cases, sedimentation events.
right, because that has to be the claim that, oh well, these layers can't be different ages if this tree is growing through them. But you don't even have that. Like he doesn't even have one going through two coal seams like he claims. Like he was showing an image, uh, and I'm like, Kent, it's not going through both seams though. Like it stops. You
Yeah,
know.
you've got a coal layer, you've got what looks like drier climates, and you got another coal layer indicating really heavy carbon concentrations in the form of plant life and such, desertification or something similar. Then it gets wet again and gets very life filled. That's what it looks like to me.
Well, if I can inject some actual like fun science facts into this video instead of
Please do
just making
increase
fun of
the
Kent.
IQ of this stream by at least 1 point.
Okay, so there is a big change in the type of plant life around the start of the Carboniferous era, because before that the only type of plant life you had was basically algae or things that could really grow but only in like a two-dimensional sense to where it's on top of the water, but you don't have plants that are growing up vertically and are able to draw roots into the ground and suck water up. So in the Carboniferous era, you started to get what's called vascular plants because they have what is effectively veins drawing that water upwards. And once those start to die, they would fall over in like massive numbers, and then through geologic processes and just stuff piles up, and stuff gets buried, especially in like rainforests and stuff, and you have layers that are effectively composting. That stuff gets compressed, and that's effectively where we get our. That's the big source of coal is those early plants. So
Coal, oil, all our fossil fuels for the
yeah,
most part. Everyone's
yeah. Well,
talks about gasoline being dinosaur juice, and it's like all the plants that form that predate the dinosaurs. It's
yeah,
some really old
because
material.
I believe oil is mostly from microscopic algae and not really dinosaur bones. All right, let's keep going.
Petrified trees standing up, running through these layers that are different ages.
As opposed to sitting down.
Hovind knows a lot about petrified trees standing up. That's what happens when he sees his wife.
How do you explain that, Adam? Why don't you bust that myth that the layers are millions of years different?
Oh no, man! Viagra's cheap, and you get plenty of donations. That's how I explain your petrified tree. Fuck, I'm sorry to everybody, but man, that's the only place I can go just to make this tolerable. I mean, I've got great company, so that's making this a lot easier. But man, just hearing the same crap from Kent.
I'm just wondering if you're talking to me or Kent.
Oh, I'm talking to Kent. Sorry,
No,
I don't think AJ needs. I'm not going there.
We always have each other, like maybe
Oh man, got me
Amen.
squealing.
each tide, when the tide goes up and down with the moon tidal pumping, is rushing water in and out of that bump, especially during Noah's flood when there's no interruptions to the tide. It'd be a 200-foot tidal change, harmonic
Tidal
tide.
pumping.
Water going in and out, make a new layer every 6 hours, 12 and a half minutes.
There you go. You called it.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It stand there for maybe 6 months or a year while the layers form around it then, but it's not going to stand there for millions of years. Come on, Adam.
But
Bust the
wait,
myth.
Kent, I thought you said all the layers formed at the exact same time. So which is it? The exact same time? 6 months? A year? I mean, if it can take a year to form a layer, how about 2 years? How about 3, 4, 5, 12 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's John Tron, sky's the limit when you don't give a shit.
There is no geologic column. I challenge it. All over the world, petrified trees found standing up, running through the layers. Have you ever considered busting the myth of matter and energy in the universe coming from a dot smaller than an atom? That's what
Myth.
they teach. Adam,
No,
look at that.
no,
Or the myth of life coming from rocks.
that's
That's what
not
they
what they.
teach.
Also not what they
Nope,
Or the
teach.
myth of any
nope,
plant or animal producing offspring other than their same kind.
nope.
Or the
Straw
myth of
man.
natural selection creating new kinds.
It's just another straw man because there's
And also,
no.
kind is not defined, so
Yeah,
moot argument.
they don't use the word kind. You're not going to find any textbook, any scientific paper that says natural selection can create new kinds. Maybe they say species, but not kinds. And
Yeah.
I've asked Kent, so does kind mean species? And he effectively says, yeah, because, oh, well, I mean, the Bible deals with bringing forth, and if that means if they bring forth after their kind, then that's the same kind. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, ring species just completely disproves that.
Yep.
There's
Once
no
they become
answer for that.
sexually isolated, that's it, man. It's new species by
Yeah.
one of the definitions, but one of the more common used ones for animals.
Yeah. So one example I always like with Kent is the squirrels at the Grand Canyon, which is something that's called allopatric speciation. I was talking about this in my Proverbs guy debate. I don't know if you've seen that one with Dustin, who's just yelling
I
constantly.
did.
Yeah.
Yep, I did.
And this is something that is seen in a lot of different environments because you can have basically you can have weather or geologic processes that cause like a peninsula to become an island or to like a river forming up separating two land masses or just anything like even
Some isolation event.
yeah, like icebergs coming and blocking off two habitats from each other, you know, and eventually, those animals keep reproducing on either side, and those changes add up, and then eventually they won't be genetically able to interbreed anymore. But they're still going to be the same group of animals, like two
Yeah, because you
squirrels.
never outgrow your ancestry.
And Kent is going to say that they're the same kind, but they can't bring forth. So the definition just has no consistency.
Nope. And that's Aaron Ra's oh god, what is it? What's the challenge he has? Phylogeny challenge
Yeah,
to define
phylogeny.
to actually define and show an example of a specially created kind. It's impossible to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are all myths, Adam. You ought to bust them. Did the universe start smaller than an atom? European Space Agency. Time, space, and matter all began with the Big Bang. In a
I
fraction
clear
of
my
a second,
Hovind
the universe
vagina.
moved from smaller than a single atom to bigger than a galaxy.
Whoa.
That's a myth, Adam. Why don't you bust that? Why don't you
Why
call
don't
the
you bust it,
European
Kent? I mean, actually do it, not make up shit. Oh, right, you can't. All you have is making up shit.
I'm just waiting for the meme where somebody edits in some dubstep where Kent's like, why don't you bust that?
Don't tempt me. I am off today. I've got all day to do stupid shit. Guild Wars can wait.
European Space Agency and challenge them to prove how you could squeeze a cup of water into a dot smaller than.
Maybe you could, considering atoms are mostly empty space.
Yeah, neutron. Let me run this real quick. What would the size be? Say some random stuff. Just talk. Go with the stream. I'm gonna figure out about the density of a cup of water. At you know what? No, it doesn't matter because in theory, yeah, you can get that. I'm not even going to bother with the math because we know with neutron stars, we know the density where
Yeah.
you're at the absolute maximum density that's realistically possible. And if you get enough mass in there, even more, you end up reaching a density where everything collapses into a quantum singularity. And that's just how things are because physics gets really, really weird at extremely tiny or extremely large values. So, yeah, Kent, you can totally have that. And yes,
Right.
there's the question of, well, if that point is basically a black hole, why did it expand or whatever? That's the beauty of the cosmic inflation concept is that whatever exactly did go on to cause the event, it happened and it pumped a fuck ton of energy into the system.
Yeah.
I know that creates a loaded situation of like, oh, where'd that energy come from? Blah, blah, blah. You got to think about it as a closed whatever it is, because you're only talking about the universe insofar as the universe existing. Outside of the universe is a nonsensical construct as far as we're concerned.
So Kent is approaching this situation thinking that something that happens, you know, in one direction of time, that we should be able to prove that that happened. You have to be able to reverse that process, which just makes no sense. So, like, just because humans can't physically uh, make like crush down a glass of water into something as small as the singularity, that has nothing to do with proving if the Big Bang happened or not. It just proves that's just such a ridiculous thing to say. Well, you can't do this, so that means that the Big Bang didn't happen. Like, no, that's really stupid. Really stupid. Over.
That's stupid, Hovind.
with an atom, let alone the whole universe. This is stupid, real stupid.
Also, Kent seems to think that, like, there was water at the singularity. There was a glass of water at that time. Like, you know,
I think you're just trying to go for an analogy because you can't think of a glass of water. That's something we think of as pretty consistent. I'm giving him benefit of the doubt, playing Hovind's advocate here on that.
yeah, but he'll
But he
say
does
like,
talk about
oh,
it like it's literal.
yeah, he'll say like, oh, you thought all the cows were in that dot. Like,
Yeah, it's
no,
like, what?
you
And
know
it's just,
that, like, Kent knows that the Earth. He knows that basically scientists say that the Earth formed. You know, Earth's 4 billion years old. So that means that it wasn't formed when the universe first started expanding. So why does he say that, like, the Earth was there at the time? It just doesn't make sense.
it's the same way reason he compares people, thinks, oh, you're related to a strawberry. It's because he wants to make it sound ridiculous. That's all.
Yeah.
Just to the average layperson who follows him, just make things sound silly and make it seem like he's so much smarter than the scientists. I did look up estimates on if the Earth had the density of a neutron star, how big it would be. It should be a sphere roughly the diameter of 284 meters, the whole Earth.
Oh. Okay.
So
So
that's the kind of that shows you how much empty space there is in
yeah.
everything. Every atom is mostly empty space.
Yeah. So I wanted to say something about what you said earlier, but I forgot it. But now I remembered it. So
Yeah.
thank you. So I was talking about how this process is not the same forward and in reverse, because, like you mentioned, if you have something that has mass and we're able to decrease it like that, there's a limiting point where once you make it any smaller, you are going to get effectively a black hole, and that's when you go past the Schwarzschild radius.
Mm-hmm.
And if we were able to compress a glass like that, it would basically probably kill Kent and anybody in the room, because it would create a black hole.
Yeah. If you were able to keep it artificially compressed that far, certainly. Otherwise, it would just freaking explode because you've got so much strong nuclear force happening.
But the kind of interesting thing is that if you were able to compress the sun into a black hole, nothing would change in our perception of, like, the universe. Like, the orbits of the planet would stay the same because the density is the same. Like,
It's
we'd
the
all
exact
die
same
from
gravitational mass.
yeah. So the same gravitational pull. I mean, we'd all die from lack of heat from the sun, but
Yeah.
it would take like 8 minutes.
Yeah, we wouldn't even notice
It's
it.
long
And then
enough
we'd
to
see it
fuck.
and we'd be like, oh crap. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. By that time, Hovind's Viagra might finally be taking effect. So I don't know. Hovind Viagra, and keep it up for Jesus.
Yeah, better just keep it up all the time, since, we don't know when the rapture's gonna come. So I just stay hard.
Ken Hovind hard all the time.
Can't no consent, Hovind.
Hey, goes back to what Ian Chen was saying, Rocky Kent.
Yeah, rock hard Kent.
But with one brain cell believe such a dumb thing as the Big Bang.
Oh.
Yes, boys and girls, we started like a dot and exploded, and slowly here we are, humans. Come on, Adam, bust the myth.
That's it. It can't just got me. I'm done. Sorry. I'm not gonna do this stream anymore with you, heathen scum. And then what happens? Yeah. Oh yeah. I found religion, Kent. I'm Zoroastrian. He just looked at me like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but there's a lot of concepts that Christianity got from Zoroastrianism. Like,
seriously, it's almost as if it was designed that way.
Well,
the universe in a dot. You can't fit an elephant in a dot.
Watch me.
If you push hard enough.
Universe. Let's see.
Sounds like my last wife.
Big Bang was the moment 13.8 billion years ago. when the universe began as a tiny, dense fireball that exploded.
Hey, dear science, pop science website, stop fucking saying this. Stop using the word explosion because you're giving
But
ammo to these people.
yeah, but even ignoring that, because they're trying to make it consumable to the average person and give them at least a way to visualize stuff. The fact that Kent just basically takes results from an internet search and just kind of piles it together, takes a little
Yeah.
tiny snippet of something, is just this isn't hard. This isn't good research, man.
It's not. He always just shows the blurbs from Google search result pages, which he's not clicking on the actual articles, because if he was, then he'd probably show actual comments from that. But so many times I've seen him just show, like, he'll read the snippet from the Google search result, and sometimes it's not even complete; it just trails off. You
Yeah,
know?
you don't even have a fully formed paragraph there that with all the accurate info. He just kind of looks at whatever keywords goes. Another thing he does, and he does this in the video that I did, the heat problem guts at
Yeah.
Gibbon video that I reacted to, and I point this out. He'll sometimes have his couple his little half page of stuff, and it'll actually explain a process. He was talking about elements forming. How do you get the heavier elements? And it literally says stellar nucleosynthesis in there, and he just
Right.
skips it. It's
Right.
like, the fuck, Kent?
Yeah, it happens from supernovae. That's where we get heavier elements. But if you're not familiar with the heat problem, there's a couple different ways you could explain that. One that I use is simply thinking about all the uranium that exists on Earth, in mines and within the Earth's crust. Um, Really, all radioactive elements, but even just uranium by itself has a certain half-life, which is very long. It's within the billions of years. Well,
Mhm.
we know that the Earth is billions of years old. We do know that. I mean, even if we don't know maybe the exact age, we certainly know that it's a lot older than 6,000. But the thing is, if you're gonna say the Earth is 6,000 years old, and you're gonna compress down that time scale of Earth that much by that percentage, now you have to say that all of the decay of uranium that's happened since from the creation of Earth, or from the time Earth formed until now, happened within that 6,000 year time span, and the amount of heat that would be released would cook the Earth like a million times over, just from the uranium by itself.
Yeah.
You add in all
Then
the
all
other elements,
those
yeah,
decay daughter isotopes as they decay.
yeah.
It just there's too much heat produced based on elemental measurements of various materials in the earth, knowing the isotope decay rates and the like. There's too much of everything for the heat to just be hand waved away.
Yeah, so that's just one example of a heat problem. You also have stuff like, that flood. If you claim that it rained for 40 days or whatever, then the amount of heat release, and it's the latent heat of condensation, would again for a global flood from rain, yeah, that again would boil the seas and it would kill Noah.
If you have fountains of the deep opening up to provide
Again, yep,
additional water,
exactly,
you have so
exactly,
much tectonic activity and such, because they also think the planet's general continent layout is a side effect of that.
right.
Ton of energy there just from raw friction.
Right, and it's like I said again. We know what the continents looked like much earlier in Earth's history, and if you want to compress down 4 billion years of tectonic plate movements to that long, again, it would all the continents would just explode, crashing into each other. Like the heat would just destroy the Earth for so many different reasons. But
Supercontinent cart.
yeah,
Africa's got the blue turtle shell. It's in the lead.
Pangea, I don't even know yet.
See you later,
Why
Godwana.
don't you bust that myth, Adam? That's not possible.
It's not
That's not
possible.
physically possible. You like science. You
Hey,
like,
what's the next video? Who's the boss? Is that what Kent's asking in this picture? Who's the boss? Me.
Hovind's the boss. All about Hovind.
Submit. Submit to me. Wives, submit to your husband. Submit to your pimp.
like physics, Adam. Come on. That's not physically possible. It's a
Oh
myth.
God, AJ, I have an
Hey,
idea.
What's that?
Okay, you like doing your Hovind parody songs. There's those
Sure.
channels out there that are doing AI stuff now.
Oh yeah.
There's one that's got a recurring theme of a pimp. It's written in like 70s esque era stuff. Get with that guy and do one about Ken Hovind being a Bible pimp.
I got a pimp
I have
cane.
to link you that stuff.
The Big Bang Theory states universe formed during a single event. All matter and energy suddenly expanded from an extremely small point called a singularity. You mean all the energy of all the stars in the universe was squeezed into a dot? Is anybody stupid enough to believe that? That's a myth, Adam. Busted. Come
God
on.
made a man out of dust and then made a woman from a rib. Is anyone stupid enough to believe that?
Yeah,
See how
lots of
easy
them.
it is to do, Kent?
Lots of them.
Apparently, well, I think they're lied to. I think they're misinformed by idiots like this.
Or maybe we shouldn't take the Bible literally, and maybe Genesis is just an allegory for growing up and moving away from your place of comfort and into the scary, harsh world where it hurts because you have to give birth to children, shove them out of your vagina. And God, for some reason, designed humans to have huge heads and tiny birth canals. And so millions of women have died during childbirth over the years because they bled out. Only recently has medical science really caught up to fix God's design so we can survive being born.
Man, it's oof. That went from being very pleasant to very heart wrenching. You went from maybe it's an allegory about going into the real world. And I'm like, wow, I've never thought about it that way. That's actually a really sweet poetic way to look at it. And then it's like, oh yeah, but also the horrors of childbirth and people dying most of the time. It's like, fuck, man, don't remind me. Huh.
Yeah, if you think that's bad, you should look up, or maybe don't look up, how the female hyena gives birth.
Oh, I
Great
know.
design. Great design, God.
I know. Yep. 10 out of 10.
The universe inflated and extremely.
It's like, sound it out, Kent. Sound it out.
Inflated. Hey, I said a big word.
And inflated sounds like my last wife. That was good.
High rate from a point smaller than a single atom to the size of a basketball almost instantaneously. This mystery continues to plague scientists. It should. It's not true. It's not a mystery. It can't happen. It's
I want to give scientists a plague. Hovind, spreader of death.
dumb. Okay.
Plague Dr. Hovind. That's going to be my Halloween costume next year.
Dude, yes. I'll be Dr. Peel.
Okay. Or I guess this year. I guess it's coming up.
I guess Matt Matt Powell thing. I don't know. It's the best I could come up with on the fly.
No, it was good. It was good. I liked it.
The laws of physics do allow for such an event. Are you kidding? No, they don't. Stop lying. Who wrote this anyway?
No, they don't.
Fantastic argumentation, Kent. Let's call the scientist. Tell him to go home. Tell him to bite the curb, and get a noose.
At least you didn't tell them where to tell them to get their money back from wherever they got their degree.
Yeah, because that's something that happens. You can just get your money back for
like a refund on this PhD.
Yeah. It's like, not only can you not get a refund, you can't barely pay for it in the first place and just go into debt for years.
You know how you can pay for your PhD? One, if you get it from a Bible or a diploma mill, Bible college, and two, if you don't pay taxes, and you can afford all the degrees you want.
Or if you get it out of a box of Cracker Jacks.
Yeah, or do like I did and go to Abide University. Remember, I've got 5 PhDs. I'm more of a doctor than Kent is.
I'm impressed. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm impressed.
I appreciate that.
Discovery education.
Oh, sorry, I mean depressed.
You're liars. I'll debate you all. How did matter come from nothing? It didn't. It can't. There came into existence
virtual particles. Matter totally comes from what most would describe as nothing. Now, it's still not nothing because it's quantum fields, quantum fluctuations, but you literally have positrons and antiprotons and the like, and various matter pairs forming and then self-annihilating.
Right. I don't want
and
Grayson,
in fact,
I don't want Grayson to get mad at me, but yeah, they don't pop. I used to say that virtual particles pop into existence, but I've since been corrected on this to where, like you said, it's not really that they're coming from nothing, although nothing is an impossible term to really use correctly because we simply can't find anywhere in space where you could say there's literally, and when I use literally, I use it literally, say there's literally nothing here, because this image represents that even empty space at the tiniest, smallest level is like a rolling, boiling mass of these particles, like
Yep.
annihilating and then like like coming together. And when you have protons and, like you said, the anti protons, they annihilate each other on contact.
I was gonna say, one, we know there's one place where there's nothing, right between Kent's ears.
Yeah.
I had to go there. Two, are you familiar with black hole evaporation?
No, I haven't heard that.
Oh man, this is so cool. So those virtual particle pairs that form. Okay, imagine a pair forming right at the edge of a black hole, right towards the event horizon.
Mm-hmm.
One of them gets sucked in. The other, now a free particle, it's ejected out, however, because, high energy states right at that cusp, stuff gets ejected all the time. That means that when that particle annihilates with something, if it's an antiparticle, the black hole has then effectively lost a tiny bit of mass. And the
Yeah.
ejected other particle is the compensation for that. So black holes evaporate. It's one of Einstein. No, it's Hawking radiation. That's what it is.
Right. That's what I
Hawking
was
radiation.
thinking.
Yeah, and it's super cool, and also means that really tiny black holes, like the water, the cup of water that he wants to make so bad, or the elephant, they would evaporate near instantly, just due to how
Mm-hmm.
this process happens. Fascinating stuff if you actually study, real science, unlike Kent and his, you know, what do you even call a guy who looks at Google excerpts of pop sci content? It's not even research. It's not science. It's
Yeah. It's
yeah,
just
pathetic.
it's bullshit.
It's around 1/10,000th of a second after the Big Bang. Before that, there was no material in any familiar sense. Just came from nothing, huh? Wow. Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago, a uniform ball of hot rock.
AJ, I feel like he's going to go on one of these tirades for a while. Did you want to? I normally don't do this. I normally try to stick with the video, but we're doing this more in your style now. You want to jump ahead to a point that might look interesting? See if we can
Sure.
find anything different because he's in a monologue.
Yeah. Let me see. How long have we been going for? Oh wow,
Long
we've
heck.
already been almost an hour and a half. That's
Wow.
crazy.
I mean,
Yeah.
we just know we can't cut whenever. You're helping me out a ton with this, and I greatly appreciate it. So now there's R and Raw. There's a perfect
Yeah.
spot if we continue.
Yeah. How long do your videos usually go for?
It actually is usually an hour and a half to 2 hours range, just by
Okay.
demand. But again, this can go as short or as long as you want, barring we can't go back in time and make it shorter.
That's true. Not unless we can, find a way to travel at light speed. Um, okay. Yeah, I think you're probably right about the R and Raw thing.
Yeah, I think that's going to be basically it because everything else looks super textbook.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll go for a few more minutes and then we can sort of give final thoughts or whatever and, wrap it up. Yeah, thanks for having me on. This was fun. Love to do
Thank
this
you a
again.
ton, my friend. I loved it. Let's get this
Sure.
done.
All right.
Rock. Aaron, can you read English yet? You
Oh,
got your B. No.
Yet?
And then the
What do you mean?
oceans
What do you
formed.
mean yet? He's already been able to read it since probably being like age 5. So,
Aaron is far more eloquent than you, Kent.
like, what the? Really? Okay, dude.
When it rained on the rocks for millions of years. Aaron Nelson says, no evolutionist
There
ever
he
believed
goes.
we came
Aaron
from.
Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson.
His name is legally Aaron Ra. He had it changed, even if it wasn't still. Respect the name he wants to go by.
Fuck the police coming straight out the underground. Hovind.
A rock. Aaron, can you read English yet? You got your BS
Young Hovind got it bad because I'm brown.
through the mail. Maybe they taught you to read. Earth
No,
began.
he didn't, dude. This is so funny. Like, Kent thinks that we think that the issue with his degree is that he got it by correspondence. No, dude, it's the fucking trailer you went to get the degree from. It has
It's a
nothing to do
known,
with it being over the mail.
documented diploma mill. That's the problem.
Yeah. So Aaron went to Arizona State University, and I don't even know like if he. I assume he did the degree online, but who cares? It doesn't. That's not the issue. He didn't do it by mail, and he got a bachelor's degree in, I think, archaeology from a reputable college, a reputable university, Kent, and you
That means
didn't.
people who are experts in this field tested him, created criteria. He worked with them to get a proper understanding of all this. Not that he didn't have already, but to certify, yes, I have definitely been trained in this by the professionals.
Kent is just mad that he has to eat crow now that Aaron has an actual now that he has a degree from an accredited school or whatever. Because
Yeah,
not that it mattered, not that Aaron wasn't already somebody you could consider an
yeah.
expert on evolution.
But it's just cementing that him refining himself in that way adds more
Right.
value to what he says, which is already of immense value. It's just he's that determined. He cares that much about this stuff.
Yeah. And Kent had given him crap as if Kent can even talk. You know what I mean? It's so ridiculous for him to make fun of somebody else's education. But now he has to admit that Aaron has one. So he has to try and move the goalpost and say, well, I don't know, but I'm gonna assume that you got it by mail, and just that's bad.
If you got it by mail, it's not legitimate. Just like voting, it's not legitimate.
Got it by mail? That's a fail.
Began as a hot ball of rock. Adam, why don't you bust that myth? Come on now.
Why don't you bust that nut?
Watch the
I'll
nut.
help you.
Stand
Oh,
up.
yeah, this channel if you want. You can come on my channel.
You
3.9
can come on my channel.
And Hovind Bukake.
billion years ago, Earth cooled enough for water vapor to condense, and Earth was experiencing violent rainstorms.
Oh my god, I just got what you said a second ago. I'm slow. Come on my channel.
Eventually,
Oh,
the accumulated rainfall formed Earth's oceans.
Whoa.
And in the oceans, 3.5 billion years ago, scientists believe the first living organisms appeared.
Nuh-uh.
Earth was a hot ball of very hot liquid.
Right. So these first earliest organisms were not even they weren't even really unicellular in the way that we think of a single-celled organism today, because even today's modern single-celled organisms are so much more complex than that first replicating molecule or
yeah,
life form, as you could call it, would have been.
yeah. I mean, you
Because
define life as something that reacts to its environment, reproduces, and
right.
seeks the self-preservation. There's the three criteria, which is why viruses technically aren't alive. Which is funny that you say you kill a virus, but it's technically not life. Like that's an example right there of like you get the predecessors to life.
Yeah. It's that you have something that's can sustain itself and can reproduce and can interact with its environment in different ways. Earliest thing that you could have called a living organism would have just been what is referred to as like a protocell, which is like Professor Dave did a video on this recently, but it's just so much more simple than even the most simple single-celled organisms we have today, which still have organelles, and if they're eukaryotic, they have cell wall, and
because they're the result of
different
3.5
things.
years of
Yeah.
3.5 billion years of evolution, just like every other bit of complex life is. It's amazing.
Yeah, and I believe Professor Dave said that the level of the jump in complexity from the earliest protocells to modern eukaryotic bacteria is as big as the difference between that same bacteria and humans.
That is wild.
Yeah. All right, let's finish this fucker.
Started off as a ball of very, very hot liquid. Okay.
I got some hot liquid for you.
200 million years later, temperature reached 2,000 degrees centigrade. Earth formed 4.54 billion years ago. This is a myth, Adam. Why don't you guys bust that one?
Let's
You've
jump
done
towards
hundreds of
the end and
programs.
see if there's anything
We
else of
think
value.
collisions from
He's
All
still
right.
on his diatribe.
Yeah, because we all know
Well, that's too far. That's the question and answer section.
Yeah, but I want to see if maybe there's any good questions. I think we're pretty much done. I think we're pretty much done here.
Because I think this is seriously a big just monologue of the same stuff over and over.
Yeah, so he doesn't reference me again, does he? It was just at the beginning.
Not that I was aware of, but I hadn't made it as far as we did here.
All right.
I tend not to pre-watch.
Let's see.
That's pretty handy. Okay, questions or comments, brother? My documentary. Well, let's see. Debunk urgent legends. Okay, do it.
What?
That's about 750 programs.
Urgent legends? What?
Emergency, urgent, legend,
That's a good one.
They did.
Hovind.
Adam, he did about 750 shows and never once questioned the biggest myth being taught as science in our schools: evolution. Why
I
not?
mean, I'm pretty sure it said that he did something about natural selection and testing it.
At
So
least he wanted to, and I'm pretty
right,
sure Discovery Channel said no because they didn't want to open the can of worms with religion, especially being this was just in the early 2000s, as a lot of these informational channels, the educational channels, were starting to go into slightly weird territories.
yeah.
You know, a little
So
bit after this, Ancient Aliens took over History Channel and the like. So, you know.
yeah. So I remember one episode where I think they were on. They were at some person's ranch or whatever because they needed somewhere where a lot of space because they were firing bullets at stuff. And then Adam, he wanted to test the myth that somebody having like a bullet in their shirt pocket or whatever can stop a Bible. Sorry, that a Bible can stop a bullet. But apparently, like
Yeah.
the owner of the property was like super religious, and he's like, "Yeah, we're not gonna shoot a Bible here, so we're gonna have to find somewhere else to go." But
That's the level we're working with. You know, in an America that's dominated by atheists and the Illuminati and the New World Order and Satan and all this evil stuff, that the farmer, you know, totally didn't have a say in whether or not this event happened on his ranch.
yeah, and the Bible was it didn't stop it at all. Like it tore right through it. Paper.
Yeah.
Or-
Or it's just lines on paper.
yeah,
Now, why don't you debunk that one, Adam? I tell you why. It might upset your comfortable atheist worldview. See, when you say, I don't believe in God, oh, now
Meanwhile,
you make the rules
everything
for your
Kent
life, don't
does
you?
just seems to be him being upset that his comfortable "I'm special" view is shattered by actual facts.
just like Kent Hovind accusing somebody else of thinking they can make up their own rules for their life.
Remember, Kent is Jesus. Jesus Hovind. And
Jesus Hovind.
Hovind wept
Yeah. Where's the
because the dust
irony?
got in his eye from Pearl Lane.
Yeah, it does. All right. I think we're done with this one. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, man, we are done. Wow, this has been an adventure.
Yeah. So I guess we have any final commentary? I guess I'll go first, and then you can tell the people to subscribe and all that stuff. I feel like I've been taking over. I've taken over your channel for this video a little bit.
No, yeah, I've appreciated you more than you can imagine, man.
Okay, so I don't see any reason that Kent did a video targeting Adam Savage other than the fact that he is an atheist, so it's technically whack an atheist, which is better than when Kent does videos about people who aren't even atheists on this channel, just people who accept evolution. It's just annoying. Like,
Well, hell,
they assist the atheist worldview or whatever, and they're somehow
the
tangentially
Foz
related.
video
Yeah,
recently, the Foz video where the guy, it's literally just not even young Earth. It's like,
yeah.
whoa, you know, you're going that extreme, man.
Yeah, it's like not whack an atheist. It's just whack somebody who's not young Earth creationist or an old Earther, which is still I'd say more of a reasonable position. But and that's I think the position that most people who are Christians would hold is
Certainly.
yeah. But yeah, uh, Kent is clout chasing here. Adam Savage has made very little content on his channel or uh, on because he has a channel called Tested, which is an awesome YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it, like I mentioned like him making the gun from Blade Runner. Like they do stuff like that because he's an expert on movie props, and they do tons of videos on that and just making different things and testing stuff. And it's a great channel to check out. And of course, all of pretty much any content that Adam Savage has been related to is going to be good. Like you could always go back and watch Mythbusters. Although personally, I really hate how the show is made for television, so they have to like stretch everything out to where you don't see what you want to until after the commercial break and at the end of the episode. It's super annoying the way they pace those shows. But if you watch them, on YouTube or whatever, you can sort of get around that. It just bothers me. I hate that.
Yeah, the formatting is just not conducive
Yeah,
to
that's
how we consume media in
right.
this environment, in this day and age. We want it to be different.
Yeah. So Kent was whacking this guy. Uh, you know.
Kent loves whacking people. Just saying.
Yeah. So
Two
Adam,
10s for a 5. I'll whack you.
yeah. So the reason Adam didn't question evolution is, like you said, that his channel didn't want to get into topics that are controversial or whatever. And so, yeah, but that doesn't make evolution wrong. Evolution's still true. It's observable, and it's still science. So you're wrong. Go ahead. All
Game
right.
over, Kent. Game over.
Deletes
Well,
his channel.
yeah, it's like, oh, good, he's done. Ken Hovind retires to New York City. That'd be funny. Complete opposite of bumfuck nowhere.
Yeah.
So actually, no, he'd probably get mad because there's too many kosher people there, shall we say? Because he seems to have a problem with that. But we're done with this. I'm not gonna rip into Kent anymore. Time for the weekend is done. AJ, thank you so much for
Sure.
doing this. Like I said, we had planned it originally. I was like, hey, this might be cool for us to do together, and then it just kind of worked out. Thank you for recording. Of course, you can send me that file, and I'll get it on the YouTubes, because that's how things work. Because I'm not tech illiterate, but semi incompetent, especially with only one monitor and learning new software. Anyway, that's just me rambling. Again, appreciate all of you for watching so very much. If for some reason, some weird way, you're here and don't know about AJ's channel, Atheist Junior, go check him out. The man is amazing. Wonderful streams. Great guy. I am proud to call him a friend, in as much as you can people online.
Sure.
And others in Discord and the like, and just on the channel. So nice. Such, honestly, I want to say loving people. We genuinely care, because we're all humans. We're all in the world together. We're all different. We're all special. Why make everyone else's lives worse? Let's make Kent's worse instead. um, but seriously, thanks a ton. You know what to do. Like, share, comment, what have you. Got any additional info, definitely put it down below. I love getting, I'm sure AJ does too. We love getting, additional info, things we might have missed.
Yeah.
That's really all I've got to say. Again, thanks a ton, AJ. You're awesome, man.
Yeah. No problem.
Catch everyone later.
Bye.